Hey everyone, so I did a video recently talking about a interesting new tuning that I had learned about and some of the ways that I had to learn about it there, and I thought that I might go back and kind of talk about probably the first non-standard tuning that people will learn with the guitar, and that is drop D. Now, there are people who like drop D and use it in easy ways, and there are people who don't like it, view it as cheating, and people that have just figured it out there. And first question I would say is drop D tuning cheating? I don't think it is. For one, you are actually extending the range of the instrument by two notes without messing with the high range of your instrument. You're not tuning your high string up like you would in D standard or something. So drop D actually does give you more notes. And I get what people mean as far as like, oh yes, it makes your power chord a little bit easier. Instead of having to do this type of shape, you can just do this. And you also have access to this power chord. And I get that, instead of having to use two, even three fingers bar chords to get that, you can now just go. Or, I mean, that would be doable with standard tuning, but I'm able to maneuver a little bit faster with it. And yeah, I mean, maybe that could be a form of being able to speed that up there, but I still don't think that that is cheating. You do lose a couple of your chords, like your big six-string chords, like your G chord shape and your E chord shape. What would happen if I played a G chord? There's ways around it. I mean, you could do something like this. Well, 5, 2, 0 on those strings. That would be kind of the same thing, but you're going to lose your G chord, you're going to lose your E chord, but you can still play an A chord, or of course A major. You can still play your C chords, and you can play your D chord, and in fact your D chord gets a bit bigger now, so you can start right here and big nice chord, or big nice D minor chord. Now this shape is interesting right here because what you get interval wise is you have a root, a fifth, a root, another fifth, another root, and then your third all the way on the high end. So root, fifth, root, third all the way down there. So it takes quite a bit of strum to be able to even establish, is this a minor or is this a major chord right there. I mean, you could just keep going, make it, root, fifth, root, fifth, root, fifth. There's a lot of cool options with it, and I've seen bands that actually can do that. They just have to do it like way up here on the instrument. That is a bar chord shape that you could use though, so you could branch this, take it out here. In fact, that's really the way that I've used drop D more, is instead of just going like, that sort of stuff, which I do as well, getting that big chord. That's what we would kind of be looking at there. And what was my other point with that? Oh yeah, that big chord. Like you could, if you got way up here, do something like this. Nile does some stuff like that. It's not the most comfortable chord, but you can do it. Is it cheating? It's cool because since it's root fifth 3 times in a row, with no thirds in there. It works major, it works minor. So that's a pretty cool chord that you can do with it. And lastly, because I could just keep going and going with this, but I want to try to stay on track, scales. That's another thing with it too. Yeah, it messes up your normal scale pattern there, but you can actually now play shapes like a mandolin or a violin would across those two strings. So that's like your whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. It's a little harder to do, up here. You can still make it work though. And of course, I could just make adjustments to that to make it minor. Lower the third, lower the 6th and the 7th. Yeah, it's, it's a handy tuning, and I know a lot of people will use it uh, differently, and some people might see it as cheating, but I totally see it as like a very viable tuning. And I've even written music before where I mix drop D tuning with D standard so that I can take advantage of both chord shapes that you can use with it. Might as well click on some distortion for a second and, just run through a few riffs. I don't do that very often. So let's see, I guess riffs that I can think of that one of my bands had done. Where's my volume? Stuff like, if or let's see, one of my favorites, and this one is tough to do in standard. It can be done, but it's I think it's a lot more fluid in drop D. That would be pretty tough to stretch in standard tuning there, so that gives us an advantage there. And one of my favorite riffs I ever wrote too. I'll just go ahead and spill the beans on this one and give away the secret to how I get the sound on it. So open D, and I'm tuned to drop C sharp, one half step lower than this in the recording, but I would be playing like the top string open, fifth string is ultimately where I'm going to get, and then the open string. So I've got D, 3 Ds in a row. Low, higher, and then a unison of that, but the riff actually drops back to the 4th fret, so I've got this tense, this minor second interval, which I've talked about, and this is where I actually worked it into a song. I'm just going to get carried away with practicing, and in fact, I might end this video and just keep on playing. But what do you think? Drop D. Is it cheating? Is it not? How do you use it? Do you use it in a style that's not rock or metal or something like... I'm curious to see like if anybody uses drop D for other styles, and stuff. Let me know in the comments. I appreciate you watching, and I will talk to you again soon.